as you'll see, there's something kind of interesting going on here. So here's Hurricane Florence. I currently have in my map list a whole lot of different layers up, NEXRAD Doppler radar stations, track line forecast, center position forecast, the NEXRAD base reflectivity, that's the rainfall stuff you see here, and all the nuclear reactors of the world. And what I noticed was that, yeah, this sucker comes in and it heads straight for station KLX in Wilmington, North Carolina, or LTX, excuse me, and then it goes directly over my house. As you can see here, I live in Sumter, South Carolina. So then it goes and makes a turn right here and heads up here to the next NEXRAD station, which is in Columbia. And that is NEXRAD station GSP, and then it makes a hard right. And then it heads up here between stations JKL and RLX and makes another right. And wouldn't you know it, it continues on up here, passing by NEXRAD station after NEXRAD station. So just a very strong coincidence. And pretty interesting to note that, you know, it does make a direct line for, it seems to make a direct line for these NEXRAD stations. Let me know what you think in the comments. I just had to point it out. It struck me as odd. And as you can see right here is the Brunswick nuclear power plant. For those who don't know, Duke Energy has shut that nuclear power plant down. Bravo to them. Normally I have to cover these sorts of things and show, you know, that these nuclear power plants are becoming underwater during these events, but luckily they've shut this one down using their brains there. And but it's got a couple more nuclear power plants it's going to blow by, as you can see over here. We have Summer 1 and 2, and the CTVR, that's closed. So the Summer nuclear power plant and a couple more along the way, but we're not expecting extremely high winds. Luckily, we're talking 40 knots, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds where I'm living currently. So I shouldn't have to deal with too much. As we can see over here, this is what Florence currently looks like. And, you know, it's on a path to go northwest, but then it's going to suddenly turn and follow that NEXRAD station and then over my hometown to the next NEXRAD station. This is it over on the global wind map. If you haven't seen that, it's at earth.nullschool.net.
It's going down. Like right now, you can see all the NEXRAD. They're off. We just seen one of them beams over here in Kansas. We were talking about the searchlight mode. Now, this storm has been 100% manipulated from the get-go. Rance Smith over on Facebook, he documented them actually forming this hurricane. And then I pretty much documented the path. You never see a track or a hurricane track be on track like this one ever. Like it was, this track was a GFS track from day one, like 7-8 days ago. Now the mainstream made it look like it was going off track. There's no way this thing would have tracked perfectly with the GFS model. And they knew it was going to be a rain event. We watched them spray the crap out of the west side of this when it got to land. And I'm thinking they probably sprayed it with the black suit because that slows the storm down. I mean, this thing is just stopped. I mean, it's just sitting there and it's going to flood and flood and flood. But I mean, all this, we've seen all this. This is the kind of stuff that we need to learn so that we can be prepared way before the mainstream even thinks about trying to get people prepared, because they're way off every time. You know, they were hyping up that Gordon storm when we were crying out this storm was going to be the bad one, and yet they wait to the last minute. You go back and look at my videos. You could have had 5 more days to prepare than what the mainstream media did. It's ridiculous.
And a direct hit on the storm systems that are here in the middle. I wanted to point this out because right now we have a lot of activity in this area. We've been seeing a lot of these anomalies striking in this area, and in the area that you can see here as well. It's interesting, they're both in this frame. There seems to be a target area, and this is obviously the Western Sahara, where all this heat is getting kicked out over the ocean, cooler water. This is the perfect recipe for spinning up cyclones. And if you can add to that whatever factors, you can control the strength or dissipate the strength of that system. Now, just with cloud seeding, we know that they can add fuel to the fire.
That's the only thing that's going to stop this from changing a lot of people's lives. Let's take a look at the atmospheric river. And what we're seeing is there's some kind of weird pulse right here where everything's in an arc. It's going to be coming right there. See that arc, that wave of energy. And then we see this white means it's so high off the chart, it can't pick it up. It can't register it. So they're definitely manipulating something down here with all the VLF and all them antennas. All the antennas that they have down here, all the low frequency antennas, the high frequency antennas.